The pick is in.
The Washington Wizards have made a selection in the 2024 draft. I'm Tanisha Batiste, and we are joined by Brandon Scott from Locked On Wizards to break down the Wizards selecting Alex Sarr with the number 2 pick, presented by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. So, Brandon, in the last couple of days, there was this back and forth of whether or not Zachary Risacher was going to go number 1 or Alex Sarr. Ultimately, Risacher goes 1, Sarr goes 2. Were you surprised that he was there at number 2 and that the Wizards decided to go with him?
I'm not surprised, but I am, if that makes sense, because there's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors this time of the year with the draft, free agency, and the trade market. So I know that with the Hawks held all the cards, so I was kind of expecting anything. But Alex Sarr, when he made it known that he wanted to come to DC, he liked what was going on in DC, kind of gave an indicator that it was going to be the pick of 2. And I'm very excited because his age, his intangibles, very excited with this pick.
Yeah, I think that he's an interesting one because he's one of those guys, to your point, where he could potentially fit into this Wizards front court early and kind of make a splash. So where do you see him kind of being able to fit in because of the skills that he brings to the table to make an immediate impact?
I think that we have to kind of answer that would rely on future moves, because right now Kyle Kuzma is the starting power forward, and you saw that Denny Avdia was sent out of town for the 14th pick, so they're trying to clear a lot of cap room and send a lot of these veterans off the roster and start a youth movement, because we're still early on in the rebuild status. And Alex Sarr, he's 19, so he fits the timeline long term, but youth movement, because if other factors, look at Brian Keefe was the head coach, so he's a developmental coach. Him and David Vanderpool, the top assistants. So right now, development is the name of the game. So but Alex Sarr is going to do well. I mean, where he projects, again, kind of depends on what direction they go with Kyle Kuzma. If they trade Kyle Kuzma, he definitely slots in at the 4 because he's a 7'1", but he definitely prefers the 4, which I think is very intriguing. So if we move Kyle Kuzma, I definitely see him being our next starting power forward.
And what do you like the most about Sarr? Because he's one of those guys, to your point, that brings some things to the table, but kind of want to know if you feel like it's more of a ceiling for him, like he's a high ceiling, high floor. What do you feel is his upside?
I think the biggest thing about him that I like is versatility. I mean, if you look at the Washington Wizards, we have a lot of guys who are versatile. Bilal Coulibaly, he can play the 2, the 3, the 4. He can guard all 5. Versatility is the name of the game. 7'1", probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you would say he'd be a center. But now, yes, a lot more versatile players now. He can play the 4, he can play the 5. His shot will develop. His shot is definitely something that's very raw in the process, but his shot's there. But he checks all the boxes: interior defense, interior offense, rebounding. I mean, he just fits so many boxes for the Wizards.
Yeah, and more importantly, and maybe most importantly, Brandon, like you said, he's excited to go to the district and be able to make some impact with this Washington Wizards team. For more on the Wizards, subscribe to Locked On Wizards on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And for more on Sarr, let's get an inside look on his path to the NBA.
Alex Sarr is a 7'1" modern NBA big hailing from France. Many people believe Sarr's athleticism combined with his offensive potential position him to be a top 2 pick in this year's draft. I am James Barlow from the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. Alex Sarr has the potential to play either the power forward or the center position. The 19-year-old last played for the Perth Wildcats of the NBL in Australia, where he averaged 9.6 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks per game in just 18 minutes per contest. Prior to the NBL, he helped France win the bronze at the 2022 FIBA Under-17 World Cup, and then silver at the 2023 FIBA Under-19 World Cup. His current NBA player comp is Evan Mobley. Alex Sarr is expected to have an immediate impact on an NBA roster. For more on Alex Sarr and all things NBA related, follow and subscribe to the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
And for continuing coverage of the 2024 NBA draft, subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.